Hey guys, it's Rhonda Spencer, principal broker with Portland Northwest Realty Group, and I'm just here in my office. I wanted to give you a fall update, what's basically going on in the market right now compared to what you're probably hearing in the media. Answer questions like, is it a good time to buy a house? Is it a good time to sell? Should I just wait for the opportunity of, lower interest rates, that kind of stuff. I've been hearing a lot of those questions from my clients and my friends and family, just basically wondering when is the right time to buy a house. I feel like a lot of what the media is telling you is really negative and not necessarily true. We have to remember that the media runs on a 24-hour news cycle, and so they have to have stuff to say. And they also, they're not usually the spreaders of good news. They're kind of the spreaders of bad news, and that's their thing, right? So let's just address what's going on in the market. This is not just for the West Coast, this is also nationally. So let's talk about that first. Let's talk about the question of, is it a good time to buy a house right now? Is it a good time to be a buyer right now? So the answer to that question is, I believe, and this is coming from what I've seen over the last 5 years, super strong sellers markets. We're just now kind of coming into a more balanced buyer-seller market. Excuse me. 2 years ago, buyers were competing like crazy back when the interest rates were low. I had one set of clients that lost 8 offers, and not because I don't know how to write an offer, just because it was crazy out there. You really had to be able to spend a lot more than you were planning on spending. In some cases, some of my clients went 100 grand over just to get the house they were looking at. They also weren't getting any repairs. So back when interest rates were low, it was a total seller's market, and sellers were getting everything and buyers were getting nothing. Except the house that they loved, which is great, but they really had to do a lot to get it. So that was I call it the bad old days of really low interest rates, which was great. If you got locked into a 3% interest rate a couple of years ago for 30 years, that's awesome. But you really had to kill yourself to get it, I'm telling you. Let's fast forward to now. Interest rates are higher, right? Interest rates right now, depending on what kind of deal you get with your lender, can be up to, 8%. And that's a lot higher, right, than 3%. So I can understand why everybody is kind of shying off from that and not wanting to do it. But let me just tell you, from my perspective, as your fiduciary, as somebody who cares about your interests more than mine, that's what that means, truthfully, I honestly think that now is a better time to buy, and here's why. You no longer are in a heavy seller's market. You're in a more balanced market. I'll give you some examples. I have clients who are getting the house that they want, that they dream of, at list price. They're not paying 100 grand over to get it. They're getting repairs. They're getting credits from the seller. They're getting money towards closing costs from the seller. Now, that's not every single time, but many times that's true. There aren't as many homes on the market, but there are more homes on the market than were on the market back when the rates were low. So that's the major reason I think it's a great time to buy. And let me just say something else about that. And let me just kind of break it down right here. So you might be paying more interest rate, which is going to make your payments per month higher. That's true. But interest rates are not going to stay high forever. As a matter of fact, they're forecast to go back down probably around the 6% range sometime in 2024. So if you get in now, you don't pay 100 grand over, you get your repairs, you get maybe some closing costs or something like that. You get in the house now, you pay a little bit more, anywhere from 6 months. They're forecasting 6 months, 8 months, maybe a year, but I don't know. Who knows? Nobody knows, right? I'm not gonna say I know, but that's what they're forecasting. Then when rates go down, guess what you do? You just refinance. You refinance into a lower interest rate and you carry on. I always say, what would you rather do? Would you rather A, have a higher interest rate for a certain amount of months, but get into the house that you want for the price that you want? Or B, have lower interest rates, compete like crazy, lose offers, pay way more than you wanted to for that house, and maybe not get any repairs either. Truthfully, that is the way it is right now. So as far as inventory goes, there's probably not going to be a whole lot of inventory building in probably the next couple of years. Why? Because back when the housing crash happened, we had way too much inventory. Everybody stopped building. And we haven't been building to keep up with demand, especially on the West Coast, for years. So it's going to take some time to get back into that. That's my perspective. It's a great time to buy. And now I'm going to talk about the sellers. So here's what it's like on the seller side. So sellers, you may be looking at, 2 years back going, well, gosh, if I had sold back then, I would have, gotten everything, and I would have gotten $100,000 over for my house, and I wouldn't have having to give any, repair credits or anything like that. That could be true. Many sellers, that was the reality for. But I'll tell you that it's still a good time to sell. The other thing that I hear from sellers is, well, if I sell, then, now I'm going to have to buy, and I'm going to have to buy at a higher interest rate. And believe me, I totally get that. But as far as the selling goes, there still isn't any inventory out there. It's better. Inventory is better than it was 2 years ago, as far as what buyers have the option to buy. But there's still not enough inventory for people that want it. So is it as good as a couple years ago for sellers? No, it's not. It's much more balanced. But seller, if you're going to sell and then buy, you're going to reap the benefits of buying, and you're still going to sell, within probably a couple weeks, unless your house, needs some work, or you priced it not the correct way or something like that, which you can avoid by working with me, because I have a whole, plan for sellers to get their home to the most optimal way that it can look and sell for the highest and fastest. So when you're with me, that's what happens with you. You don't sit on the market for a million years. We sell that house quick. So that's kind of my take for sellers. Again, if you guys need to either buy or sell, my advice is don't try to game the market. I hear people doing that all the time. Well, I'll just wait till interest rates go down, and then I'll either sell or I'll buy. You know what? That doesn't work. You might get lucky once in a while and the market kind of falls into your lap, but most of the time that doesn't happen. So my advice is this. If you need to sell or buy a house, just sell or buy a house. On the West Coast, you can look at years and years and years statistics to show you that your house is not going to lose value. It's going to gain value. And as a matter of fact, the longer you wait to buy a house, the more expensive it's going to be. And that's just a fact. So, there's lots of loan options out there. I have great lenders who can take great care of you. Find the loan that works for you, and I can help you find the house that works for you, or sell your house for the highest price at the fastest time. Again, this is Rhonda Spencer with Portland Northwest Realty Group. I'm here for you. Check out the details at the below here, and we'll talk to you soon.